Alright everyone, welcome back today or tonight or whenever you're watching. It's your boy K Natsuki here, and today, or tonight, or as I said, whenever you're watching, I have a new what if. As this might be my last new what if, then I'll actually finish some other what ifs, then I'll make some new ones, okay? As this what if is called, well, what if Naruto was the son of of, well, you will probably know who the demon is if you look in the description. As, well, yeah, I'm that slick. But, or if you just watch the whole video. As anywho, let's get into this what if. Now, our story begins many years ago, when a woman would enter the leaf, as this woman would look like this. Well, with a minus the bones, as she is believed to have, well, the highest, most possibly strongest use of bone release, as it's impossible, as she can do billions of things that not even Kaguya or goddesses and gods wouldn't do. As, well, this woman is just walking around the Leaf Village, as she sees Minato, and then goes over and flirts with him. Now, of course, this woman had been flirting with Minato for 2 weeks. As in this AU, Kushina, the entire Uzumaki clan, dead. Okay? However, since his mother has intense bone release, Naruto will be called Naruto Kaguya, as he will be part of the Kaguya clan. Or, that's what they'll think. As Naruto's mom pretty much, well, begins dating Minato and eventually has sex with him. As she eventually then has a child with Minato. As the very moment as when she finds that she is pregnant, she then basically creates a katana out of bone and decapitates Minato. As the woman just sinisterly smiles and says, perfect. Yes, I've always wanted a child of my own, said the woman, as she would then walk, as she would basically carry Naruto and walk away. As then, pretty much, she would be walking with Naruto, as she would also be killing hundreds of villagers. Just with one arm and with one hand, as in the other, she's holding Naruto. As she's rocking him back and forth, you know how a mother should. As Naruto is just smiling and sleeping, as then a villager screams at, hold on. Okay, as pretty much she would be killing thousands and hundreds of villagers, and she'd just be holding baby Naruto in her hand, in her other hand, as she would just think, this'll be fun. Raising my own little sweet boy. Yes. The demon would then, his mother would then chuckle, as yes, she is a demon. As she would just be about to walk out, and then she would pretty much just leave the village, and be right about to leave the village, and then third Hokage appears. As the third Hokage would then say, "Stop. I cannot let you leave. You have to pay for your crimes." As well. My God, what does this kid not get? The ships? What? This guy's a square. I don't like squares. Anywho, back to the what if. As, well, the third Hokage would say, "Hey, you have to pay for your crimes. You just murdered hundreds of people, including the fourth Hokage." As the woman would then as Naruto's mom would then chuckle and laugh and say, "I could have killed thousands. Hell, maybe even 10,000s. Tens of thousands. Doesn't really matter. It's all fun and games. Games to me. Well, of course, except for my son here." As the fourth Hokage and the third Hokage, Hiruzen, would then say, "Stop. This is your last warning." And she would then just smile and say, "You really think you can stop me?" As then hundreds of bones would pop out of her, as she'd say, "Bring it." Basically, she'd have bones sprouting out of her legs, her head, her back, her chest, her feet, her hands, her arms, her forearms, her face, her fingers. Basically, there'd be bones sprouting out of everywhere. As then she would pretty much transform into this, as she would say, "You really think that a mortal like you could stop a demon, and could hold a demon?" As she would then chuckle. As then he'd say, "What are you?" As then she would say, "I'm the white bone demon." As she would then create a giant bone pike out of her forearm and say, "Now, die." As right as she was about to hit the Hokage, Kakashi would appear, and just as she was about to hit the Hokage and the third Hokage would use a sealing jutsu. Of course, this sealing jutsu he would use to seal her far away, and to to seal her inside of a vase, as it was inside of an urn, as this urn was made specially for trapping demons. However, it had never been used before. As he opened the urn and she was trapped inside, as she then said, "Let me out, let me out, let me out, let me out," as the urn would then wobble and shake. As he'd then say, "Alright, I got the demon. Now, send this urn to the smeltery, or some place where it could never be found." As Kakashi would then say, "Right away, hey Lord Third," and "Right away, Lord Third." And then he would say, as for the boy, he would just blankly stare at Naruto, as Naruto would just look at him with his red and black eyes. Naruto right now is a baby, and yes, he's demonic black and red eyes. As he'd then say, have him beaten. We need to beat the demon out of him. We need to make him good. So in order to do that, we need to beat the evilness out of him. As pretty much for his entire life, they would beat him, chain him, hurt him, and try to exorcise him. As Naruto would have no clue why they did this. As well, one night he would, as eventually they would stop hurting Naruto and allow him to be in the village like a normal person. As one night he was pretty much out camping with a couple of his friends and a couple of senseis and teachers, as it's like a field trip, a camping field trip. As then the teacher would then explain, this teacher, of course, he would have he and a couple others would have rare Kikigenkai, which would make them look like animals. They would have, basically, they'd have Ambu masks that look like those of animals. As they would have called each other these names to not give anyone sort of weird feelings. As anywho, as a guy with a chicken mask would then say, as pretty much Naruto would hear this tale. I mean, would hear the scary story that the senseis were that teachers were telling. As he would then say, is this story real? Or is it just a legend? As the senseis would say, oh, it's real, alright. As right now, Naruto would be 9 years old. As they would say, I'm 8 years old, as they would say. Well, no, he'd be 7. Yeah, 7. As they would then say, hey, 7 years ago, oh, that demon, that very demon came to our village. She murdered hundreds, including the 4th Hokage. As she almost escaped the village and almost killed the 3rd Hokage. But she's trapped somewhere, defeated by a legendary taijutsu master. Of course, she was defeated by a legendary taijutsu master. That, of course, would be the 3rd Hokage. As he'd then say, but she still exists, trapped in an urn for all eternity. As pretty much Naruto would then say, so it's real, huh? And then they'd say, of course, she was a demon, an unstoppable force of evil, one which we could not control, said one of the dudes, and said one of the teachers, as then another said, no matter what anyone did, they could not beat her, as she devoured the souls of hundreds of thousands of innocents. As then Naruto would pretty much walk out, as after that day he had gotten a fascination, and walk away, as after that day he had gotten a fascination with the White Bone Demon, as he had researched her and nothing else. As, well, he researched and saw that she had 2 forms. One, which was a white-haired female who had a extensive power over bones, and then another was a terrifying iron skeleton demon with a red coursing, with basically a soul made of darkness, and red had unholy demonic chakra, which is infinite. As then Naruto would begin to train. Of course, he'd begin to train, to prepare for the Genin exams. As one day when Naruto was training, he would accidentally, and he would pretty much create a sword, well, like a dagger, out of his own palm, out of his own bones, as almost as faster than 10 times the speed of thought, his bones would regenerate. As he then say, well, what the? As Naruto could see that he just created a dagger made of bone, as he'd say, whoa, bone release. The demon's power, and White Bone Demon's power. Cool. As Naruto would eventually get into his Genin team and all that. As one night he and his team would be walking out. Outside as Naruto, it would basically be the Land of Waves mission. As Naruto would be fighting Zabuza, but would have pretty much been would have been hit back by Zabuza's sword like a couple of miles away. As Naruto would hit a tree. As he would then wake up and see that he was next to what appeared to be an old pottery shop. As he'd say, "Wow, pottery. Nice. I hear pottery's a good way to take off stress." As he'd then say, "Well, I best get back to my team." As he had no clue where he was or where his team was, he would then say, "Darn, I don't know where my team is, and I don't know where I am." As then Naruto would hear a voice. Just a woman's voice. As they would say, "Psst, hello, who's there?" As then Naruto would say, "Huh? Who said that?" As the female voice would say, "In here." As Naruto would enter the pottery shop, as he would go to pretty much the basement, as where he was standing. At first it sounded like a tiny whisper, but when he got to the basement, it sounded like there's actually someone right next to him. As he would hear a voice. "Who is there? Who's there?" the female voice would say. As Naruto would then say, "Naruto Kaguya. Naruto. My name is Naruto. Where are you?" As she would then say, "In here." As Naruto would see the urn and say, "Wait a minute, are you the white bone demon?" As she'd then say, "Yes." "Wait, how do you even know that?" As he'd say, "I've pretty much researched and heard about you and, well, learned about you for most of my entire childhood. I'm for about a year now. You're absolutely fascinating." As he'd then say, "How do I let you out?" As Baigujing would then say, "Let me out." And as the white bone demon would then say, "Let me out." No one ever lets me out. No one. As he'd then say, "Well, I'm gonna help you out. Well, I'm gonna get you out of this urn. As she'd say, "Thank you. May you hurry it up, please? I'm in kind of a rush." As Naruto would then say, "Sure, Miss, as she would then say, "Baigujing." As he'd then say, "Okay, Miss Baigujing." As Naruto would open the urn, as suddenly a woman who looked like this would form out of the urn, as she would basically be prepared to kill Naruto, and then she looked at him, as she saw his eyes, which were black and red. she saw, well, basically she saw him, as she would then rush over and hug him, as Naruto would not know why Baigujing hugged him, as he'd say, "Why are you hugging me?" As she'd then say, "Naruto, it's been so, so, so long." As Naruto would then say, "Excuse me, but, Baigujing, Miss Baigujing, how do you know who I mean, how do you know me?" As she'd then say, "Oh, allow me explain." As she would then say, "I'm your mother." As Naruto would then have his jaw dropped open and say, "Wait, really?" As she then say, "Yeah, little question. Have you been able to create weapons out of your bones yet?" As Naruto would then say, "I kinda can create a dagger out of my bones, which instantly regenerate. So yeah." And she then says, "Good, good, 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 good. Very nice. Very nice indeed." As she would actually let out a soft chuckle. As Naruto would then think, so my mother is the famous white bone demon. Huh? Not exactly what I was expecting, but it's much better. Better than what I was expecting. As Baigujing would then say, "Now, please get out of that form." As she would then turn into this form, as she'd say, "Well, your turn." As Naruto would say, "I don't know how to turn into a demon." As she would then say, "Oh, it's really simple. Oh, it's really simple. Just harness all of your energy around her body and focus it into a form." Now, imagine the first thing that comes to your mind. As Naruto would do this, as then he would grow 2 white horns. His hair would become orange, and his eyes would become Rene Sharingans. His whiskers would look like claws. As he'd then say, "Like this, mother?" As, well, Baigujing would then say, "Perfect. You're a quick learner. Very quick indeed." Yes. As soon I'll be able to teach you a lot more than that. But first, what do you say about some training? Some training experience. As Naruto would then say, "Training experience?" I should then say, "Oh, yeah. We're going to ambush we're going to invade a small village. Hopefully you won't mind." As Naruto would then say, "I don't mind at all, Mom." As he would let out a big smile, as she would then just smile and say, "Good, good." As Naruto and his mother would pretty much be walking towards a village, as this would pretty much just be a very small, weak village. as it would just be a grass, as it would be the grass village. As Naruto and his mom would pretty much attack the village. As Naruto and his mom would begin attacking and killing people, as she would basically be teaching him how to eat souls, and how to eat, and how to get stronger. As Naruto would begin to eat souls, as he would then say, "Thank you, mother, for teaching me." As she would then say, "It's no problem at all. Now, how get these runaways?" As there'd be about 30 people running away from Naruto and Baigujing. As then Naruto would say, "Yes, mother." As he would pretty much have bones come out of his wrist, as they would swirl all over. He would have bones come out of his forearm, or where his elbow is, as the bones would swirl around to create a sort of drill or lance. As then, with Naruto's other hand, bones would have come out to create a giant claw, as he then said, had "Die!" and would have jumped towards the villagers and murdered them all. As Baigujing would then tear up with happiness, as she'd then say, "Oh, my little boy is growing up so fast. My little boy is growing up so fast." As then Deku would, as Naruto would then say, "Mom," as she would then say, "It's okay, it's okay." As then, and pretty much about a week later, someone would hear of Baigujing's return. As no one would really hear of Naruto, as most of the kills were thought to be just Baigujing. As then a person who is not the third Hokage would then say, "Damn, third Hokage, I thought I told you to keep the urn away." And then the third Hokage would say, I did, Mr. Wukong. And I did, Wukong. I hid the urn away in a sealed basement. There's no way anyone could have found it. It's literally hidden, far from anything." As the guy that the third Hokage was talking to would then say, "I gave you the honor. Anyways, I gave you the praise. I told you to tell them that you defeated her. However, she is returning. And I'm not even that strong anymore, as I do not have what I once had." Just as Wukong and Hiruzen would be talking, some people, the Rookie 12, along with a whole bunch of teachers, Risen senseis and teams would have entered the room. Would have entered. As then, they would have asked who Wukong is, And why did he say that he beat the white bone demon? As then Wukong would begin to speak. As he would then say, as he said, I would then kick her spirit, or I would kick her soul into an urn, into that soul catching urn. However, as then a man would, and as then Kakashi would then begin to speak. As then Sun Wukong, yes, the dude that's Hiruzen is talking to his son Wukong, would then say, of course that story is real. In fact, it isn't even a story. It's history. As he would say, now, of course, the white bone demon cannot free herself, so someone must have gone out. I would have A, either found her on accident, which is almost impossible, B, well, hold on, this is what Son Wukong looks like, sorry, as he would say, B, someone sought her out, which why on earth would anyone want to do that, or C, she wanted someone to find her so badly that that person actually came to her just by the will of the universe. It's probably either B or C. But it could also be A. As Sun Wukong would then say, it doesn't matter, we need you to defeat her now if we have any chance of beating her. As then everyone would say, what do you mean defeat her now? As he would then say, with each soul she gets, with each soul she takes, the stronger she gets. I was only able to beat her using my crown, and even then, the chances were slim. My crown is lost. It's gone. And without it, I'm pretty much weakened. Without my crown, darkness continues to spread. The lands are divided. And she now returns. Well, there actually could be a fourth option of what happened, but that depends, as he then asked Hiruzen, did she have any children before I defeated her, before I fought her? As Hiruzen would then say, yes, she had one child, a boy, but he right now is thought to be dead, as a ninja named Abusa defeated him and almost killed him. However, no one's found his body. body. As then Sun Wukong would say, ah, so she wanted her son to find her, and he had, and it appears he has, meaning they're most likely going on a spree together, meaning that she has most likely taught him how to manifest his demon powers, and he'll be a big, 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 big pain. Because if I remember correctly, it's always the newborn demons that are starving for souls, and are usually the insane ones. As he then says, as we need to stop them now, as he would pretty much grab his and summon his staff, as he was just about to walk out, and then, well, Sun Wukong would fall over and say, "Gah, it's no use. Even now, her power is overthrowing me." As then Hiruzen would say, "What do you mean by that?" As Sun Wukong would then explain, the world is like a coin. There are two sides to a coin. To keep balance in the world, there's two sides, two eras. As long ago, before I defeated her, it was the era of darkness. I mean, before I defeated her the first time, of course. Now that was long, 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 long ago. Actually, right before the first Hokage and Madara Uchiha's battle. As she was terrifyingly powerful. And the world was shifted into the era of darkness, which made her stronger. As, well, that much darkness fed her and gave her too much power. I was only able to defeat her the first time because I could shift the tide in my favor. However, she returns. And however, the first time, when she returned the first time, I fought against her again. Now, of course, I beat her. But she was too strong. As then I was able to shift the balance permanently into the era of light. As that's why all of you are alive and not on a silver platter. As Naruto, as Wukong would then say, also one more important thing. We cannot let... Anyways, also one more important thing. We cannot let them get over it. We cannot let them kill one of the main 5 villages. Because if they do that, they'll have enough souls to friggin' overpower me. And right now, because the balance have shifted, I'm too weak to move and fight. As he would then say, "Hey, therefore I'm too weak." As Sun Wukong would fall over into a chair and say, "Go, stop him." As Hiruzen and his ninjas would then say, "Yes, we'll try." As Naruto would, as, well, Naruto would have been prepared for most things. I'm sorry. Son Wukong. As he then said, go defeat her. Yeah. So he would fall over and pretty much be weakened as they would put him in a tape on a chair and say, my God. As then